As you know, I highly value faith, family, and freedom. Faith to me is both the religion you follow and the conscience that guides you. And it's something deeply personal and important. And of course, faith makes major contributions to the morality of society. And morality, it's basically like that chalk line in the grass that tells us where out of bounds is. And that out of bounds keeps both society and government in line. The reason why I mention this is because I've noticed that people treat government as though it were the saving grace of the nation. It's super frustrating because it's not. They act as though that just by having a certain type of government, everything will be fine. Conservatives say that having a constitutional government is what we need to be fine. And progressives say that having a government that controls everything is what we need to be fine. And the reason why anyone suggests these ideas or other ideas is because of the fact that they see all the problems we are experiencing and they don't feel like the right sort of policies are being legislated. So the only thing to do is to be more constitutional or to be more socialistic. The problem with this line of thinking is that it's just not accurate. Here's the truth. Nothing works. There is no system of government that works unless you have a people who are moral, and that morality is backed up by a religion. And not just any religion, a peaceful religion. Generally one that resembles a Judeo-Christian religion in values and principles. And I know that what I just said is not really popular, and it's definitely not politically correct, but I want to elaborate on this in just a moment. You're listening to The Alex Speiser Show. I want to thank my sponsor today. Our sponsor is Illumable. Illumable started off as two brothers who were just tired of having to wake up to blinding lights in the middle of the night as they were trying to go to the bathroom. You know, if you go to the restroom, you have to use the restroom in the middle of the night, so you get up, you fumble around, and you get into the bathroom, and you know you have to turn on the light. And you do, and boom, you're like fully awake. And when really you just want to be able to get up, go to the bathroom, and then go right back to bed. But usually that light stops you from doing it. And that is why they invented Illumable. This is the motion-activated nightlight. It attaches to the side of your bowl and allows you to pee happy and go right back to sleep. I personally have used Illumable many times for a while now, and it is fantastic. It's great because it only works at night, so if you walk in during the day, it's not wasting battery at all. But at night, it turns right on, has a soft little glow. You can even adjust the brightness of the light shining in your bowl. That way, it can be brighter or dimmer, whichever you prefer, and it can rotate through colors. The other cool thing is I found that my kids, particularly my eldest, who we've been potty training, he loves it. He loves it. He loves to be able to go potty using that because suddenly the potty is fun. It has all these like cool colors. I know that if you want to enjoy going to the restroom and going right back to bed, you don't want to be woken up in the middle of the night, you need to get Illumable. Go to illumable.com. That is spelled ILLUMIBOWL. Illumable.com. Go there and enjoy your nights from here on out. Okay, before I jump into elaborating on what I said earlier, I'm going to let you hang there in suspense, and I want to tell you about a special treat that we have coming up on the Alex Speiser Show. As many of you know, the congressional representative in the United States Congress, Jason Chaffetz, he's stepping down in the middle of his term. And as he puts it, he's grown pretty cynical of anything of actually happening that would support Republican values. And because he's stepping down, Utah is having a special election to replace him. So next week, on the show, I'll be interviewing the Provo Mayor, John Curtis, who is running to replace Jason Chaffetz in Congress. It's going to be a great interview. Mayor Curtis, he's actually done a lot for Provo. He has a great connection with the people here. But in any case, I'm going to be interviewing him in his office, and you will be able to watch it online from YouTube or listen to it on SoundCloud next week at Wednesday, 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So don't miss out. Be sure to share with your friends and spread the word. You just might be listening to the next Utah representative for Congress. And if you're in Utah, you might just want to listen up and see if he's the right one to vote for. I'll let you decide. Okay, so jumping back to what I said earlier, I said that no system of government works unless you have a moral people, and that morality is backed up by a religion that resembles Judeo-Christian religions in values and principles. So let me elaborate. First, about the government, no government really works without a moral people. Well, yes, that is completely true. Even John Adams admitted that the Constitution only works if the people are moral and religious. And in fact, the Founding Fathers said, many of the other Founding Fathers said the same thing. So here's why. A government like ours gets its leaders and its power from the people, and so it closely reflects the people more so than any other system. When we choose to throw away our moral consciences for compromises that seem like they're a pretty good idea, wherever we choose to break every normal code of moral behavior through supporting a government and elected officials who choose to be immoral, that is entirely on us, and it is entirely our fault. For example, moral behavior acts with like acts of honesty and integrity towards one another. We tend to value those, but yet somehow we choose to make it acceptable to be dishonest and to have no integrity when it comes to politics and government. We know that stealing is wrong, yet we support it through ridiculous tax laws and try to take from the top and give to the bottom. A lot of those socialistic ideas, that's going against those moral principles. We make that ridiculous exception there where we in my life I would never steal, but I would love for the government to steal for me. But yet we say that it's the right thing to do because it's helping people out. And it's total BS. Or, we know, another example is we know that character really matters, but yet we choose to support the disgusting and degrading words and actions of our elected officials because they are on the same party. That's just pathetic. We should not support people just because they're of the same party or anything. We should really call out bad when it's bad and call out good when it's good. And of course, there are some government systems, system ideas that, not speaking of constitutional government, but even just other ideas like socialism, that can't work no matter how moral the people are. And that goes for basically everything the left suggests. Any sort of government, any sort of stuff the left suggests is basically, it'll never work no matter how moral the people are because it goes against moral principles on so many levels. We should be very concerned with the lack of moral character, really, in our country, because any free people who become so corrupt like we are becoming, that we bring upon ourselves bondage and totalitarianism. As we become more vicious and unprincipled, that the government, out of necessity, grows in power, so it can control the people so that we behave. It's sort of like when you're growing up as a kid, and then you get into a fight with your brother or sister. Let's say you're on this long drive somewhere, you're sitting in the back seat, and you start fighting, and you can't really get any distance from each other, and you just won't stop. And your mom or your dad keeps telling you, stop it, don't, and they say, don't make me come back there. But what happens? Well, of course you don't stop. You keep fighting. So eventually your mom or your dad crawls over the seats or pulls over, and they get back there and they sit between you two, and to force you and your sibling from fighting. That's exactly what it's like with government. As we keep fighting each other, we naturally look to the strength of the government to protect us from all the problems that come from the fighting. And I don't mean just physical fighting, I just mean fighting in different ways. We look for the government to save us from the corruption and the viciousness that other people are perpetrating. This is exactly why Benjamin Franklin said, quote, "Only a virtuous people are capable of freedom. As nations become corrupt and vicious, they have more need of masters." End quote. Okay, so here's the second thing about that I said about how morality needs to be backed up by a religion that resembles Judeo-Christian values. So peaceful religions with values that suggest the equality of mankind in rights and protection, and those tend to be only religions that are very similar to Judeo-Christian religions, those values instill in principles. The values like all mankind are equal in rights and equal in deserving protection by government. The religions that impress that instill principles that actually help us to establish moral absolutes and then to live by them. Without the values supplied to us by faith, we do not have freedom. What we have seen with the suppression of religious influence and presence is that people stop caring about moral absolutes, especially the moral absolutes that America thrived upon. And so none of what we do will matter anymore. It won't matter if we continue to not care about those moral absolutes, and we become less caring about them, the more muffled and silenced the voice of faith becomes in our world, in the public sphere, in all other spheres. The more we suppress it, the more that we care less, and the more we lose our freedom. For example, if we don't think that all people are or should be equal in rights anymore, then our government is going to continue to be manipulated to favor those of special interest and violate the rights of others, just like it's already starting to do. You've been listening to The Alex Speiser Show. If you liked what you heard, do me a favor and click the like button. And if you liked it a lot, then please share it on social media with your friends. And remember, next week I'm interviewing the Provo Mayor John Curtis about his run for the congressional seat of Jason Chaffetz. I look forward to sharing with you that interview then.